The induction of the adaptive immune system occurs when the innate system has failed and can no longer fight the pathogen. It begins with an immature dendritic cell, an antigen-presenting cell with MHC processing, which has intercellular antigen receptors expressed on its surface, allowing for the engulfment of the antigen and the displays of little parts of the antigen which signal the helper T cells as it is identified as an infected cell. The T cells bind to the MHC antigen complexes on the surfaces of infected cells, activating the T cell with cytokine receptors, leading to the induction of apoptosis in infected cells, and eliminates the intercellular pathogen where apoptosis is. Some B and T cells differentiate into memory cells that respond rapidly to any secondary encounter with an antigen, as they have antigen-specific markers on their cell membrane which help to remember the antigen for next time by creating a specific lock that fits the antigen key and starts cloning when the antigen is identified. In the humoral system, when the dendritic cell matures, it has the ability to secrete cytokines, which aid the destruction of infected cells, although Yersinia pestis, however, enables dendritic cell maturation and causes paralysis to the dendritic cells by impairing the cytoskeleton rearrangement function, thus inhibiting the cytokine secretion. If the dendritic cells aren't activated, they build a tolerance to the pathogens and don't defend the body of infection. This then leads to the pathogen distributing itself through the body's bloodstream, which is what happened in cases of the plague. Yersinia is known to paralyze T cells rapidly by inducing cells to undergo mitochondrially regulated programmed cell death. How did the bubonic plague become an epidemic? Due to very high mortality rates, the bodies of those who were infected were not able to be efficiently cremated, thus resulting in the rats still contracting the plague through their fleas who had fed off the infected bloodstreams, continuing to spread the disease. The plague initially was also used as biological warfare, introducing plagued bodies to cities that had not yet been contaminated, with rats then spreading throughout the walled towns. As it was the 14th century, there were no technological means of recognizing what caused the plague, and the doctor's poor treatments using herbal remedies were not enough to cure infections. This then saw 1/3 of Europe eradicated. Vaccines. Vaccines equip the body with the means of defense against pathogens by introducing weakened strands of antigens, allowing the memory B and T cells to be able to rapidly clone antibodies to assist in fighting off an infection when entered in the body. The adaptive immune system reacts as mentioned before, with dendritic cells delivering the antigen to T cells, who then differentiate into various roles to fight the infection. The body is then stronger to deal with the pathogen when it next enters the body, as the B cells recognize the antigen key and signals for the various defensive cells to help attack the pathogen. This then means it is a quicker response, and the pathogens are recognized as a threat faster, leaving less time for the body to be infected and at risk of bloodstream contamination. As the vaccine contains a weakened strain of the infection, the body can fight it easier than what would occur with exposure to complete infection. After the antigens have dealt with the infection, suppressor T cells stop the body from attacking healthy cells, and the lymphocytes clear up the remaining mess of the attack. How vaccinations help the bubonic plague. A live attenuated vaccine is offered for the bubonic plague, which allows the body's memory cells to store the antigen lock in order to equip the body with rapid defense if it is infected again. This then means that the human response to being infected with the plague is minimized and leaves less of a possibility for the transmission of the pathogen via flea vector, as Yersinia doesn't linger. This vaccine, however, only lasts 6 to 12 months, so overall it is not a very effective preventative measure, although it does offer some herd immunity. What is herd immunity? Herd immunity is seen when a large population of people are immunized against a disease, which are the black people in my model, which protects those who can't be vaccinated like the elderly, small babies, and those with weaker immune systems seen in the red, as the disease cannot be transmitted from those who cannot be affected from the infection and show symptoms. This then significantly reduces the spread of pathogens and minimizes the risk of an epidemic. To conclude, the vaccine for the bubonic plague is somewhat effective as it provides herd immunity, protecting those who cannot be vaccinated. Yet the need of frequent booster shots makes the vaccine both expensive and unideal, which is exemplified in my model.